Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Well, check out Deal to Heal Teas. With our inspirational teas, you're sure to find something that will inspire you. Just go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. That's Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tea and be inspired all day. That's Deal to Heal Teas at dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Hey guys, this is Earnest James, host of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, and I got a question to ask you. Could you buy me a cheeseburger? Better yet, could you buy me a value meal? Yes? Well, guess what? I don't need a value meal. However, for the cost of a value meal, you can support this podcast to keep us on the air. Just go to Patreon/Deal to Heal podcast and choose any one of the 3 tiers that's available. And if you just want to make a one-time donation, go to Cash App and make a donation to $EJames, the number 418. Make a one-time donation to the Cash App, or again, go to Patreon to support this podcast and keep us on the air. Thanks in advance. Be blessed. Welcome to Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I am your host, Earnest James, and I believe that everyone can and should live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, to heal, and to fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. If you haven't already, make sure that you listen, like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Definitely want you guys to go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And just also, when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, don't keep it to yourself, but share it with someone else. Please share our podcast. I think we have valuable information. We have valuable guests on, and we shared some things that definitely is doing what I intended for them to do upon starting this podcast, which is to help people to heal in every area of their life. So definitely share, make sure you listen, like, and share, but then also share with someone else that they may subscribe also to the podcast. So yeah, we want to make sure that you guys are doing that. Also, just to get into our next segment, we want to talk about our product of the week. Actually, our product of the week. So our product of the week this week is our Motivate shirt. Motivate. I'll put that up so you guys can see it. Those that are on YouTube and Facebook that is here is Motivate with the words, the letters of the word move highlighted in red. Because that's what we want to do. We want to motivate you, but we don't want just to motivate you, but we want you to do some movement after you've been motivated, to put that motivation into action, to make some changes, make changes in the lives of someone else, whatever that looks like. Make some changes in your own life. Don't just be motivated and inspired, but put some movement behind it, right? So that's what you want to do. You can find that at our Deal to Heal Teas website, which is on Shopify. You can find that link in the show notes. Also, our website is up. Our business website is up, should I say. That's dealhealfulfill.org, dealhealfulfill.org or RG. And also our website for our ebooks is up. That's ebooksbyejames.com. I made that really simple for you to remember, ebooksbyejames.com. So definitely want you guys to check that out when you get a chance. So today's episode, right? So we're actually finishing up, coming out of February, which is Valentine's Day month, as well as Black History Month. Um, Valentine's Day month, so we talk a lot about love, and we're in the mood for love and how that affects us, right? So today I wanted to talk about the topic of love and respect, right? Love and respect. And so one of the things growing up, one of the things my father used to say to us all the time was, "Love me and respect your mother." Right, and I know that that was sort of because of the way that we showed up, or they showed up in their roles as parents. You know, my mom always, of course, being a woman, was the nurturer of the both of the two. You know, she invested in us emotionally and into our emotional being, and so therefore, on the receiving end of that, she wanted that same thing back. She wanted that same love back. My dad, although yes, he did still love us, that wasn't where that's not where he emphasized. He emphasized on the duties that he provided as a father to, provide for our covering, our the roof over our head and things like that. And he wanted to be respected for that. And so I understand definitely those two dynamics of why he always told us that all the time, like, respect me but love your mother. And so I just want to get you guys input on that. What do you think about that saying? Would you rather to be loved, or would you rather be respected? What's your views on that, right? And so in my own life, I definitely took that motto, took that saying to heart, even in my own life and how I show up. Even with my sons, I have four stepsons, as we all know, and so even with my relationship with their mother, because I was always took that same thing, like, and it really showed up in that aspect of me being a stepfather. So as a stepfather, the role or the mantra of love me, love your mom, but respect me was really prevalent, because as a father and as a stepfather, I always tell my sons, you're not going to always like me, right? You're not going to always like what I tell you to do. You're not going to always like how I lead you. You're not always going to like, how I encourage you to show up, and how you should behave as a young man, from my viewpoint. You're not always going to like me, but you got to respect me. You know what I mean? Respect me for, number one, I'm your dad. We didn't really use the slogan of stepdad, but I'm your dad. I'm here. I'm providing for you. I'm making sure you have what you need, and I'm giving you the mentorship and the guidance of what it is to be a positive, upstanding citizen, young man in your life. So you might not like how that looks at times. You might not like how it sounds at times, but you got to respect it. And then on the other side of which is love your mother, I definitely press that with them, like, because look, nobody is going to love you the way your mother loves you. You know, even as a father, I love my children, right? But there's a different aspect of love that comes from a mother, because the mother carries you for 9 months or less in some cases, but for 9 months before you're brought into this world. So that relationship with the mother, that bond that a mother has with a child, starts before anybody else's. So that bond is 9 months at least ahead of any other bond with any other person on this earth before you're born. So definitely your mother loves you in a different way that anyone else has or will. And so definitely love your mother. And I also want to touch on that, because as parents, sometimes, we do what we feel is best in the lives of our children, and we teach our children what's best from our perspective and our experiences. And I've seen it to be done that sometimes there are people that come into the picture and get into your child's ear and share their viewpoint of what your parent, or especially a mother, what she may be doing wrong, and what she's too hard on you in some cases, and maybe she should change her mind about some things. So please understand this, to all the young adults that I'm that's listening to me right now. Understand this: no one will ever love you the way your parent loves you, especially your mom. So don't let somebody else come and get in your ear and telling you what your mom is not doing right, or what your mom is not, should be doing differently, when they're not the one that gave birth to you. They're not the one that's responsible for you. You know what I mean? And I know there's some cases where, we have moms that maybe may not be the best of moms because their own situations. You know what I mean? But we can address that at a different time, because there's always exceptions to every rule. But in general, you want to make sure that you're not letting somebody come get in your ear, because I've seen that done where people come and get in your ear and say, oh, your mother shouldn't be doing this, your mother should be doing that. You should come stay with me. I will let you do what you want to do, or I will let you do this and that. And then when that child decides, okay, yeah, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna go stay with you, and they get with the other person, and then the other person is like, oh no, I was just talking. Like I don't have the room for you, or I don't have the capability of taking care of you, and then it's now they backing up after they've already poisoned your relationship with your parents, whether it's your mom or your dad. So definitely, to all my youngsters, don't fall for that. But I wanted to talk a little bit about, that love and respect aspect. And again, my question to you is, would you rather be loved or respected? And so sometimes when I think about it myself, would I rather be loved or respected? I'm kind of torn between the two. I definitely would like to be both, to be honest. But if I had to choose one over the other, I'm still kind of in between. I don't necessarily know how I would want to be. I would want to answer that, right? Because on one hand, I definitely want to be loved. I want to be loved as a person who cares about people, as a person who loves people, and is always trying to help, or be there for people any way that I can. I definitely want to be loved back, right? Because I love people pretty much unconditionally, and in spite of some of the things that they may say or do, or react to different situations, or even react to me, I still love. You know what I mean? And my my grandmother used to say, and I don't know if it's a scripture, but she used to say, "I love though the less I be loved." You know what I mean? Like I love you even if you don't love me back. That was one of the, that's just something that we have, and something that was ingrained in us just growing up. We definitely were taken to homeless shelters and to nursing homes and things like that, where we would have church at the nursing homes with the seniors there. Definitely, like I said, feeding the homeless and things like that. So always, as a youngster, being taught to give back and to look out for other people. So that grew up in me. So as an adult, I still do the same thing. I'm always trying to look out for other people. And so as that person, I definitely want to be loved. I definitely want to be loved back. Like, man, yeah, I want people, I want to love people, and I want to be loved on back, for the work that I do. And not that I'm doing it for that reason, but as a result of doing it, yes, I do want to receive love in return. But then when I think about respect, that goes on to a whole nother thing that connects to me just in my manhood, because as a man, you want to be respected. I think that's just one of the dynamics that you know has been groomed or instilled in us over the years. Because again, as speaking as a father, you're not going to always like me. You're not going to always like what I may say or do, but you have to remember that I always have your best interest at heart. And this is something I instilled in my kids, especially my sons, who are my stepsons. I instilled in them two things from the very beginning when I came into their lives. Like, number one, know that I love you. That's number one. Number two, well, always remember I have your best interest at heart. So even when it gets to those times that you don't like me, you don't like what I say, you don't like where I'm leading you, you don't like my delivery, maybe, at the end of it all, you still know that I love you, and you still know that I have your best interest at heart. And so that being said, you don't have to like me. You don't even have to love me at that point, but you still got to respect me. You know what I mean? You still got to respect that I'm showing up for you. You still got to respect that I'm providing for you. You still got to respect that I'm covering you, as your father or father figure in your life, at this time. And so, yeah, on that other hand, that respect speaks to a whole nother aspect of two men as in your manhood, in your parenting, and your showing up the way that you do. You want to be respected. And so just thinking about that, I have to admit, like I said, I'm kind of torn in between, because both dynamics play such a big role to me personally. Because as a loving person, I want to be loved. But then as a responsible person, as a man, as a father, as a provider, I want to be respected for the things that I do, because sometimes the things that I do is not always going to come out lovable. You know what I mean? Some of the things that I do to provide, some of the things that I do in order to provide. I might miss some of the birthdays. I might miss some of the holidays. I might miss some of the funerals. You know what I'm saying? In order to provide steadily for my family. And that may not always look good. That might not always feel good. That might not always be the case where it's like, oh, I love him for all the things that he's doing, because you might not feel loved in my expression at that moment. But you have to respect it, because at the end of the day, I'm still upholding my responsibility, right? As a man, responsibility is very big, and I definitely teach a lot on that. I still show up as my responsibility. Is what is my responsibility to this family? Whether you love it or not is irrelevant in some cases, because it's what I know that I have to do. So again, like I said, it's like a seesaw. I'm on this balancing wheel of trying to figure out what kind of means the most to me. But at this point, I think they both are very maybe even evenly weighed in my life. I want to be loved, definitely, and I want to be respected, for the things that I do. So yeah, I would like to you guys make sure that you talk about it. Make sure you put it in the chat. Your ideas on it, and your viewpoints of it. Would you rather be loved, or would you rather be respected? I know respect is a big thing in the amongst males. We definitely want to be respected amongst our peers. And so when I'm talking to young men, there's two attributes that I always teach any young adult, whether male or female, that is the turning point of you going from a child into adulthood. And that turning point kind of hinges at its core on two things: on respect and responsibility. And number one, respect is given, and respect must be earned at the same time. And sometimes, especially amongst our boys and amongst our men, we think it's an either or. It's like, well, I respect you, when you respect me, and I'll show you respect, when you show me respect. But then on the other side, you want to be respected, off the get go. So it's like, oh, it's an either or. It's like either I give you respect, or I earn your respect. But it's not an either or. It's a one and, right? You got to do both. That's the way you show up. You show up by first giving respect to those that's around you, right? And then also earning their respect. Number one, they'll give you respect back just by you giving them respect. They'll return the respect because, oh, this is a respectful young man. Let me return it, that same respect back to him. But then when you're acting responsibly, and you're taking care of the things that's left in your control, you become a man of your word or a woman of your word, to be a person that someone can depend on, for you to say the things that you said you're going to do, and show up the way that you're supposed to show up, like you said you're going to show up. Then you'll get respected, because you're being respectable. You're honoring, you're gaining the respect, you're earning the respect. So respect goes two ways. It has to be showed, number one, it has to be given, but then it has to be earned too. And it's not an either or, it's both. You got to show respect, and you got to gain respect, do the things to gain or to earn your respect at the same time, in order to be considered a respectable person. But then on the other side, we talked about respect, and we talked about responsibility, because responsibility is a big part of you earning your respect. You got to be responsible. You got to, number one, be able to do the things that is required of you to do, but not only the things that's required of you to do, but the things that you have to sometimes go above and beyond to take care of. That may not necessarily be your job, but because you're in a position to do something about it, because you're in a position to be responsible or be respectful of it, to take care of it, and you just take care of it. Again, adding to your respect as a person, because of you taking that responsibility. So responsibility plays a big role in that transformation. Are you responsible? Can you be responsible for the things that you're in charge of? But not only the things that you're in charge of, can you be responsible for yourself? And then can you be responsible for the people that you're in charge of? So as a young man, definitely becoming a father, definitely becoming a mentor, you are responsible for some people that's under you. And as we become, husbands, you're responsible for your wife now. You're responsible for your children. You're responsible for their well-being, right? And so are you able to stand up and handle those responsibilities? And as you do, then you earn their respect, of that position that you hold, and stand when you stand in that space, um, when you stand in that space successfully. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, so going back to like my dad said, love your mother, number one, because that's your mom and she definitely loves you back, but respect me, not that I love you any less, but respect me because I love you, but respect me because of the things that I'm responsible for, that I'm handling, that I'm standing up in that space, not only being responsible for it, but actually handling those responsibilities successfully to provide for you, to put food on the table, to keep a roof over your head, to the best of my ability. And so I definitely give a um, lot of respect out to my dad, love and respect, but definitely a lot of respect. Number one, when I speak about fathers, and even in this space of being a father and the responsibility that you have to your children, there's a lot of guys who left that responsibility. There's a lot of fathers who left the responsibility, left that role of father, and for being there for their kids. But I definitely give all respect out to my dad because my dad is nine of us, nine siblings, right? Nine children. My mom and my dad had nine kids, and we definitely hit some hard times. And even at one point, we lost everything, right? So it's my dad, my mom, and their nine kids staying in one bedroom at my grandmother's house, for a time, right? And so it will be easy for a man to be like, you know what, I'm out. I'll just worry about me, forget that wife, forget them kids. And it's been guys who have done that with less, not nine kids. There's guys that ran off on one kid. So I definitely honor my father for being a father, for staying in there, for hanging in there and showing up for us, not just bouncing and worry about himself, but sticking through the hard times with him and my mom and the nine kids, until even up to this day as adults, still being able to call my dad if I needed anything. So again, definitely love my dad, but definitely respect him for all that he has done as a father and as a man and as the example to me and to my brothers and sisters of what that looks like to be a father, to be a man, to be stand up in that space of responsibility. And so, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about. I really want to get you guys viewpoint on that. Would you rather be loved or respected? You know what I mean? And those are my ideas of it. But again, that's a quote that came from my dad: "Love your mother, um, but respect me." And I see where he got it from. I see what he meant behind it. We definitely loved our mother and respected my dad, and still to this day, definitely love my dad and respect him. So, that's all I just want to share real quickly with you guys today that was on my mind. Um, so again, thank you guys for tuning in, man, to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. One of the things that I'm very happy about is to I've been blessed to be a part of a organization called the Forgiveness Mission. And one of the things that we're doing, we're having free forgiveness workshops every quarter of the year. Right. We just had our recent one for the first of this year a couple of weeks ago, and so we got another one coming up probably within a couple of months for the second quarter of the year. But in these workshops, we talk about forgiveness. We talk about what it is, what it isn't, who it's for. We talk about forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others, forgiveness of the world, just things like that. And it's definitely a message that needs to be heard. Definitely a message that has some weight to it. And I want you guys to make sure you go to forgivenessmission.com. That's forgivenessmission.com to be able to to join us on these workshops. And they're free. It doesn't cost you anything. Free virtual workshops. Just tune in and get the information. And even if you don't feel like you need it, I'm sure you know someone who could have who this message could impact. So please share it, with someone else. Also, like we talked about before, even with our websites, the website dealhealfulfill.org, which is our company website. There you'll be able to find out more information about me and what I have going on as a company, with the podcast, with the speaking engagements, with the workshops that I do, and also with the products. the products and things that I offer. Because not only do we have the ebooks, but again, we have the inspirational t-shirt line, where you can get your inspirational tees, put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tee and be inspired all day, right? That is our motto. So you guys can go look for our inspirational tees at dealtoheal.com. That's on Shopify. The link will be in the bio, down below in the show description, show notes, to make sure that you guys have that. So again, man, I'm just happy, man. I'm happy that you guys showed up and are coming through. Also, one of the things, and I think I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the podcast, but you can win $100 from the podcast, and it doesn't cost you anything, right? It doesn't cost you anything at all. How do you do it? By entering our $100 super subscriber contest. And that means you must subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our podcast on Spotify. After you've done those three things, you text the word WIN, WIN, to the number 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to qualify to win $100. And the contest is ongoing, which means it never stops. So once you are in, you're always in. And it's random, which means that anytime, any day, I can pull a name out of those who have entered the contest, and you can win $100. It's just that simple. It doesn't cost you anything. So I definitely would appreciate you guys taking advantage of that. And I mean, while I would always love to keep my money in my pocket, I think it was even more of an incentive to give that money to you for being a supporter and a listener, right? So thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Again, my name is Earnest James, and my mission is to help people to deal, to heal, and to fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. So until next time, you guys be blessed. Hey guys, I know you're enjoying the podcast. However, don't forget to join our text line at 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to receive text messages with new events and things that is going on and new episodes as they release. All right, see you in a minute. Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Tees. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tee and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.